Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land. And would you look at what's back there? What is that? What is that? Is that a RWBY Volume 3 poster? I think it is. I think, in fact, it is, my dear friends. RWBY Volume 3 coming to ya! Yeah! Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land, Jake of the OneManBand is back again. Finally here, finally back from RTX, finally with news for the next volume of RWBY Volume 3. Now, I learned a lot at my time at RTX, so I'm going to be cutting what I learned into multiple videos. This first video is going to be about some new characters that are going to be introduced. But first of all, I want to address something. I want to address Lai Ren and what's going to be happening with him. In case you didn't know, Lai Ren, who was voiced by Monty is going to be voiced now by one of Monty's brothers. I believe it's his older brother. And even though he is going to sound a little bit different, he's going to sound different than the original Lai Ren, the remaining creators and heads of RWBY wanted Lai Ren's voice to stay in the family and in memory and in honor of Monty, which I 100% agree with, and I think that it should be done. Anybody who doesn't agree with me can just leave right now, because I don't want to hear it. So, now that that's out of the way, let's move on to the main theme of this video. We have two new characters that have been mentioned in the previous volumes, but now they're going to be coming to us both in person and in voice. They're actually going to be in this new volume. I'm talking about Qrow, Rose, well, I'm pretty sure his last name is Rose, I'm guessing his last name is Rose, and of course, Winter Schnee. Alrighty, first let's talk about Qrow. Now, once I saw his concept art, I instantly fell in love. He just looks so dapper, so awesome. But something that did kind of irk me is that his dress, even though it is really, really cool, it doesn't scream hunter to me. It doesn't scream huntsman. I mean, it's really just plain and just looks like a dress coat and some dress pants. And he has even the fancy shoes. Now, to be honest, other professors, like from Beacon, such as Ozpin and Ooblik, take more of the formal dress and don't have really that much battle gear. So what I'm guessing is that Qrow is he's kind of backed away from being on the front lines and hunting down Grimm, and he's now taken up a professor's job at Signal Academy, as we know that he did teach there. But that doesn't mean he probably is a pushover in any way, no. He's probably still one of the best huntsmen out there. He's even highly trusted by Ozpin, and the reason why I believe he's so just high up there in the ranks of just being an amazing huntsman is his cape. Now, it may just be a running theme with members of the Rose family to have capes, but his cape definitely looks like it's been through battle. It's got rips in it, it's got tears in it, it looks like it's been worn for a very long time. Some of the colors have started to fade, and what I actually like about it is that it hasn't been repaired. As if he's kept this cape, this one cape, for his probably entire huntsman career, and he hasn't repaired it, and he hasn't mended it at all. He keeps it as a reminder of all the battles he's been through, and it's a form of memento of his past. So, any guy that's like sentimental about like an awesome cape, I just think is totally awesome. And his cape is actually shorter than RWBY's is. So, it's probably more along the lines of those lengths because he's a male, and he probably doesn't want it to be getting in the way. but it's still an awesome cape. And who knows, it actually could be a hood, but due to the concept art we see of him, it looks like it isn't. Another aspect about his costume design is the necklace around his neck. If you look closely, it looks like it's a wooden crucifix. Now, I'm not sure if there's actually any form of religion on Remnant, and if there's any form of like Christianity or Catholicism or Judaism on Remnant. I mean, who even freaking knows? But it is shown that RWBY also has a form of crucifix on her apparel. And even in the very first trailer for RWBY, the red trailer, her emblem on her belt was not her rose, but a crucifix. That is why way back then I thought that she was going to be some form of holy warrior, until, you know, the series actually came out and I figured out what the series was actually going for. So, is the crucifix a sort of form of symbol, memento of the Rose family? It has to play some form of importance or symbolism. I know that, because you wouldn't put something around somebody's neck if it didn't mean anything. I mean, yes, it could be adding garnish, like I said with the necklaces that were on Neo, Coco, and Raven in Volume 2, but when it's something like this, and it's so like close to something that another character has, and that character is the main character of the series, I think it probably means a little bit more than just a random necklace around a couple people's necks. Now, as we see, he has dark hair, a lot like RWBY's, the black hair, but it is graying. It is graying around the fringes, and especially the back of his head. So it shows that he's got a little bit of age to him. He's probably up there in age with probably the rest of the professors at Beacon Academy. Now, we know that Qrow was Summer's brother? Or was he Tai Yang's brother? No, wait. He was... Dang it, I can't remember anymore. I've heard so many theories about how Qrow is related to RWBY and Yang that I can't remember what is true. Anyway, I believe... I'm going with Qrow was Summer's brother, therefore RWBY's blood uncle and Yang's adopted uncle. So, anyway, okay, so... due to the fact that his hair is graying, yes, he's probably up there in age with the other professors, and he was probably the older sibling between him and Summer. And this goes along with how Ozpin described him in the very first episode, as a dusty old crow. Now that could just mean that he's kind of just getting up there in age, but I also believe that the term dusty also refers to as somebody who's kind of walked away from being a frontline huntsman and gone to being a professor. Maybe he's sort of given up the whole violence thing for a while now, and he just chose to live out the rest of his life in peace. Although he's been training RWBY, and we did see earlier on, early into RWBY's life, that he did save Yang and RWBY from Beowulfs, but he may not have seen combat in a very long time, and therefore he may be dusty. As in, he hasn't been used in a while. But we can't forget that not only is he a professor at Signal, and the main mentor for RWBY when she was there, but he is also probably one of Ozpin's secret agents, if you will. He, as we see in the last episode of Volume 1, he sends a message to Ozpin, Queen's got pawns. Queen has pawns. So, that means not only is he a professor, but he's probably maybe even an intelligence agent. As in, maybe he keeps his ear to the ground, maybe he has contacts in the underground of the criminal organizations of the world. You know, maybe he's along those lines of being not like someone who goes out and fights Grimm, but somebody who keeps criminals in line and sort of eavesdrops on them. He may be along the line of maybe that kind of huntsman right now. And now that Ozpin is no longer in charge of security for the Vinyl Festival, Ozpin's probably gonna be bringing in any allies he can, because he obviously knows something's up. So that's why we're finally gonna see Qrow. And due to the fact that all of the schools and from the world are going to be also coming to the Vinyl Festival. He's probably going to be coming as one of Signal's representative professors. So maybe we'll see Tai Yang as well. He is hoping. But now, here is the time. We talk about who he's going to be voiced by. And if you guys didn't watch the live stream of the RWBY panel, he is going to be voiced by Vic Monogana. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced, but if you don't know who that is, you've been living under a rock, or you haven't watched much anime, because Vic Monogana, he has played and voiced many an important character in anime. He's voiced characters such as Edward Elric in Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. He's voiced Broly from the Dragon Ball Z movies. He's voiced Banawi from that one anime whose name I can't pronounce, but I'm going through right now. I'm loving that anime anyway. And he's also voiced Spirit Auburn from Soul Eater, as well as many others. He's done a lot of voice work. So when I first heard that he was going to be voicing Qrow, I was just like, whoa, man, this big guy from anime is going to be voicing his character? That's going to be awesome. But I was surprised that that a lot of people were kind of confused and even disappointed that he was going to be voicing someone like Qrow. And to be honest, I was expecting Qrow to be voiced by someone who kind of would have a deeper voice and would seem more mentorish. And, you know, he would, like, have some, age to him, and he just seemed like an old mentor father figure. But now that I've had time to think and time to analyze things, let's take a look at this. As we know of, Qrow isn't married. There is a theory going around that Raven is his wife, but we're not getting into that! We're not bringing Raven into this episode! So, as we know of right now, Qrow is unmarried, he doesn't have any children, and the only people he has helped raise is RWBY and Yang. So he's always kind of been that bachelor uncle character. Now, that wouldn't really mean that much responsibility would have been put on him. Even though he's a huntsman and a mentor and a teacher, he is still sort of that free roam bachelor guy. So he would kind of have a more playful side, and he wouldn't really be the serious whatchamafoots as maybe Ozpin. I would think that he would have some form of like seriousness, but it wouldn't be ever present. He would kind of be more of a jokester, more of a free-spirited, free-hearted kind of guy, a lot like RWBY, because RWBY was mentored by him, therefore she must have adopted little pieces of him into her during their mentor and apprenticeship. And it's when I came to this conclusion that I figured out that Vic Monogana, he is probably one of the best people to voice this kind of character. He's voiced, I mean, his vocal range is pretty freaking good. He can be, like, he can just play a lot of different type of roles, but I think that his best kind of role is sort of that young, sort of cocky type male character that, you know, he's just kind of like, he does what he does and he goes around the world like a free spirit and stuff like that. Even though he can have like moments of maturity, he still is gonna have that joking side. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense to you guys. It makes sense in my mind, but if I didn't explain it well, I'm sorry. So, but so far, what I'm seeing from Qrow is very, very promising, and I'm hoping that he actually has like a big role in the next volume, and we get to see him in action. I mean, him is maybe the only person who trumps him is Ozpin in the want to see them in battle, because everyone wants to see Ozpin fight, and I personally want to see Qrow fight. Alright, now on to the second character. We're going to talk about Winter Schnee. Now, I was not honestly expecting her to be revealed at RTX, but I think she just gained such an occult following that they had to say, oh yeah, she's going to be coming out, so people would go crazy. And people did indeed go crazy, my friends. So, what can we tell from this concept art that's being shown of Winter right here? Well, we can definitely see that she is the older sister of the Schnee sisters. Obviously, for reasons. I'm talking about her boobs. But what else can we tell from this character? From her posture and her pose, we see that she is elegant. She is definitely a heiress, somebody who comes from a high-class family. But here's the real question I want to pitch to you. If she's the older sister, why is Weiss the heiress of the Schnee Dust Company? I mean, there's probably 1,000 different theories right now. So, I want you guys to put in the comments below why you believe that. And we'll probably come back to it in a later episode. But right now, let's continue to talk about just her as she is right now. She does sport the same form of bun that Weiss has, only it doesn't form into a ponytail. It just kind of stays in the bun, but she does have longer hair in the front, covering the right side of her face. Now, is there anything wrong with that particular side of her face? As we know, Weiss's, let me think, left eye has the scar, so maybe Winter's right eye has a scar or some form of scarring somewhere in that area. I mean, who really knows? But I think with the hair draping over the eye, it reminds me of Torchwick, kinda, and how it kind of gives her a mysterious, almost villainous energy about her. She almost, and especially the look on her face, it's straight, it's emotionless, it's tense, which means she very well could be some form of sort of emotionless character or even a villain in the next volume. Now, what can we tell from her form of dress? Now, her form of dress, she looks like she would be some form of executive, maybe even a teacher. So, it very well could be she maybe works for the Schnee Dust Company, but take a look at those leggings. Those are plate armor. Why would an heiress, why would an executive of a company be wearing armor-plated leggings? Unless she had some time either in the military or as a huntress. Now, she very well could have been a huntress, but think, we know that the Schnee Dust Company and the military have worked together on projects. Maybe she joined the military at a young age and therefore no longer became the heiress of the Schnee Dust Company, which then went to Weiss. So maybe those leggings show her as not only an executive of the Schnee Dust Company, but also maybe an executive and ranked member of Ironwood's military. Now that I think about it, her way of dress, it's very similar to Ironwood's. So she very well could be A, an executive in the Schnee Dust Company, B, some form of military representative, or C, could be a professor at Atlas, at the academy in Atlas that falls under Ironwood's jurisdiction. So could Winter very well be to Ironwood what Glenda is to Ozpin? Who knows? That's what I'm thinking right now, that she's a form of second in command to Ironwood. And now that Ironwood has control over the guard of the festival, over the security, he's probably gonna have to bring in some of his lackeys. So he's bringing in Winter. Yeah, it's all starting to make sense now. Now here's something else for you guys that I just saw personally in Winter. Now, it may just be the dress, her name, the way that she looks, but she very much reminds me of Esdith from Agami Ka Kill. Now, Esdith, as we know, was a high-ranking member of the opposing faction in Agami Ka Kill, and she was also sort of crazy and a sadist and loved violence and stuff. but she was also a very complex character, and I don't really want to get into my opinions on Esdeath right now. Topic for another video at some point, because I got some thoughts about Esdeath and stuff, but she still sort of has that vibe of being a very powerful, almost scary female individual in this series. And the only other person who's really given off that vibe is Cinder. So, now we're gonna have another one? I don't know how we're gonna handle this, guys. And finally, her voice actress is going to be Elizabeth Maxwell. Now, although I haven't heard her name as much as Vic Monogana, she did do the voice of... I can't remember her name, but like the main character of Ghost in the Shell, the Arise series. I think that was sort of a modern revamp of Ghost in the Shell, and I haven't actually watched that. I've only watched the original Ghost in the Shell. So I will probably have to watch the Ghost in the Shell Arise in order to get a take on her voice. But as of right now, I just like the whole concept of Rooster Teeth getting high-profile voice actors and actresses to start doing voice acting for their series. Even though they've gotten high-profile voice actors and actresses for some of their previous stuff, now it's coming into RWBY, so it just seems kind of like self-fulfilling prophecy, because RWBY is a form of anime, and now we're getting anime voice actors to come in and voice characters. It's just really cool. So, as of right now, that's pretty much all I have to say on what was shown at RTX about Qrow and Winter. What are your guys' opinions? What do you guys think is in store for these characters? Do you like the voice actors that they got for them? What do you think sort of roles they're going to play in Volume 3? Leave all your comments down below, any crackpot theories whatsoever, and tune in next time when I explore what the tournament and arena is probably going to be like, at least my interpretations of such, for the final festival. And be sure to like and favorite if you've enjoyed. Subscribe, of course. I will see you guys next time. I'm out there in YouTube land. Be a good person. Tip your waitresses. Keep moving forward. And RWBY Volume 3 is coming, baby! Prepare yourselves!